A billionaire refuses to buy his daughter a jet ski. The internet explodes with anger. But 15-year-old Maya Patterson sees something different in that viral video. Something that reminds her of her own father, who said yes to everything until it killed him. 3 years ago, Marcus Patterson died in a construction accident, leaving behind debt and a notebook full of wisdom he couldn't quite live. Now, as Maya watches the world judge Michael Jordan for saying no, she begins to question everything she thought she knew about love, sacrifice, and what parents really owe their children. What if the jet ski video wasn't about being cheap? What if there's a darker truth hidden beneath those 15 seconds of footage? A truth connected to a tragedy no one saw coming, and a lesson Maya desperately needs to learn before it's too late. The story behind the viral moment will change how Maya sees her father's death, her own guilt, and the impossible choices we make in the name of love. This is the truth about the jet ski story. And it starts with a girl, a phone, and a video she can't stop watching. Maya Patterson's phone buzzed during her lunch break at Navy Pier's hot dog stand. She wiped mustard off her hands and pulled the phone from her apron pocket. Her best friend Keisha had sent her a TikTok link with 3 exploding head emojis. "Girl, you have to see this," the text said. Maya tapped the link. The video loaded, showing a sunny marina somewhere in Florida. Palm trees swayed in the background. Boats bobbed in crystal blue water. The camera was shaky, like someone was trying to film without being noticed. Then, she saw him, Michael Jordan, standing on a dock, wearing sunglasses and a white polo shirt. Even at 51 years old, he looked like a giant among regular people. A teenage girl stood next to him. She looked about 17, pretty, with long dark hair pulled into a ponytail. She was pointing at jet skis lined up along the dock. "Dad, can we just buy a couple?" the girl asked. "We come here all the time." Jordan shook his head. "We'll rent. No need to own everything." "But we're here every summer," the girl said. "It would be cheaper to just buy them." "Jasmine, we're renting," Jordan said firmly. His voice was quiet, but final. The video ended. Maya stared at her screen. The caption read, "Michael Jordan refused to buy his daughter a jet ski to save money? He's a billionaire!" Maya's thumb hovered over the screen. She scrolled down to the comments, since there were already thousands. "This is disgusting! He has $2 billion and won't buy his kid a jet ski? Cheapest rich person ever. My dad made $40,000 a year and still got me what I wanted. This man is worth billions." She's going to need therapy. Being rich doesn't mean you have to spoil your kids, but come on. It's a jet ski, not a yacht. Maya felt her chest tighten. She watched the video again, and again. Something about it made her stomach hurt in a way she couldn't explain. "Hey, Maya!" her boss called from inside the stand. "Break's over in 2 minutes." She barely heard him. She was still staring at Jordan's face, at the way he'd said no to his daughter so easily. Like it cost him nothing. Her phone buzzed again. Keisha had sent another text. "Can you believe that? If my dad was MJ, I'd never hear the word no in my life." Maya's fingers trembled as she typed back, "Yeah, crazy." But that wasn't what she was thinking. What she was thinking was more complicated, messier, angry. 3 years ago, her own father had said yes to everything. Yes to the expensive art tablet Maya wanted for her 12th birthday. Yes to working double shifts to pay for it. Yes to climbing that scaffolding on a windy October morning, even though he was exhausted. The scaffolding that collapsed. The scaffolding that killed him. Her father, Marcus Patterson, had died trying to give her everything. And here was Michael Jordan, who could buy 1,000 jet skis without checking his bank account, saying no like it was easy. Maya shoved her phone back into her pocket. Her eyes burned, but she refused to cry. Not here, not at work, and not where her co-workers could see. "Maya, let's go!" her boss yelled. She walked back inside the hot dog stand. The smell of grease and onions filled her nose. Outside the window, tourists laughed and took pictures. Kids ran past with balloons. The Chicago summer sun made everything bright and cheerful. Maya felt like she was watching it all from underwater. She handed a customer their hot dog and took their money. Her movements were automatic. Smile. Thank you. Have a nice day. Smile. Thank you. Have a nice day. But in her head, she kept seeing that video, kept hearing Jordan's voice. "We'll rent." Such a simple sentence. Such an easy choice for him. Her father never had easy choices. He had bills and debt, and a family that needed him. He had a daughter who wanted nice things, and a wife who worked night shifts at the hospital. And he had a body that was tired and a heart that wouldn't quit. Maya pulled out her phone one more time when her boss wasn't looking. She watched the video again. This time, she noticed something in the background. A sign on the marina building. Fletcher Marine, Jupiter, Florida. She took a screenshot. She didn't know why. She didn't know what she was going to do with it. But something told her there was more to this story. There had to be. Because if Michael Jordan could say no that easily to his daughter, and her father had died saying yes to her, then Maya needed to understand why. She needed to know what made someone choose one path over the other. She needed to know if her father had chosen wrong. Maya couldn't stop thinking about the video. That night, she lay in bed scrolling through more comments. And the video had 5 million views now. Everyone had an opinion about Michael Jordan and his daughter and that jet ski. But Maya kept thinking about 3 years ago, about the summer when everything was different. It was 2021. She had just turned 12. School was ending, and Maya's art teacher, Mrs. Chen, had pulled her aside after class. "Maya, you have real talent," Mrs. Chen had said. "Have you thought about taking digital art classes this summer?" Maya hadn't. Her family didn't have money for extra classes. Her mom worked as a nurse at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Her dad worked construction during the day and security at a warehouse at night. They paid their bills, but barely. "I'll think about it," Maya had told Mrs. Chen, knowing she wouldn't ask her parents. But somehow, her father found out. Maybe Mrs. Chen called him. Maybe Maya had left the class flyer on the kitchen table. She couldn't remember now. What she did remember was her father's face when he came home from his construction shift that evening. He was covered in dust and sweat. His hands were rough and calloused, but his eyes were bright. "Maya Bear," he'd said, using his nickname for her. "Your teacher says you're good at art." Maya shrugged. "I guess." "Don't guess. Are you good or not?" "I'm okay." Her father sat down heavily in his chair. Their apartment was small, just 2 bedrooms in Southside Chicago. The couch was old, bought from a thrift store. The TV had a crack in the corner, but the walls were covered with Maya's drawings, taped up like a gallery. "You're better than okay," Marcus said. "You're special. Oh, you know what special people need?" "What?" "The right tools." 2 weeks later, on Maya's birthday, her father came home carrying a huge box. Maya's mother, Carmen, was in the kitchen making dinner. She saw the box and froze. "Marcus, what is that?" "Open it, Maya Bear," her father said, ignoring his wife's tone. Maya tore into the wrapping paper. Inside was a professional digital art tablet. The kind real artists used, the kind that cost real money. Maya's hands shook as she pulled it out. "Dad, this is amazing." "You're amazing," Marcus said. "Now you've got tools that match your talent." Carmen walked over slowly. She picked up the empty box and looked at the price sticker still attached. Her face went pale. "Marcus, can I talk to you in the bedroom?" "In a minute, babe. Let Maya set it up first." But Carmen's voice got sharp. "Now, Marcus." Maya pretended to read the instruction manual, but she could hear every word through the thin walls. $800? Carmen hissed. "Are you out of your mind?" She needed it. "We need to pay rent. We need groceries. We don't need an $800 toy." "It's not a toy. It's an investment in our daughter's future. Our daughter's future needs a roof over her head." There was silence. Then her father's voice, quieter now. "I picked up extra shifts. We'll be fine. You're already working 70 hours a week. When do you sleep?" "I'll sleep when Maya's dreams come true." Maya had sat on the couch, holding the expensive tablet, feeling like she might throw up. Even at 12, she understood what $800 meant to her family. And it meant her father would work himself to exhaustion. It meant her mother would worry even more than usual. But her father had been so proud, so happy to give it to her. Now, lying in her bed 3 years later, Maya wondered if that tablet had been worth it. She still used it. She'd created hundreds of drawings on it. But was any drawing worth what happened next? She got up and walked to her closet. In the back, behind old shoes and winter coats, was a cardboard box. Inside were her father's things. The stuff her mom couldn't bear to look at, but couldn't throw away either. Maya pulled out his old work jacket. It still smelled like sawdust and concrete. She held it to her face and breathed in. Then she found what she was looking for. A notebook, spiral-bound, with a worn cover. Her father's handwriting filled every page. Oh, she'd never read it before. It felt too private, too painful. But tonight, with that video playing over and over in her head, Maya needed to understand. She needed to hear her father's voice again, even if it was just words on paper. She opened to the first page. At the top, in her father's careful printing, "Things to teach Maya about money." Maya's throat tightened. She turned on her bedside lamp and started reading. Lesson 1. Don't confuse love with spending. People think buying expensive things shows love. That's backwards. Love is working hard, so your family has what they need. Love is being smart with money, so you're there when it matters. Anyone can spend money. Real love is knowing when not to spend it. Lesson 2. The best gift is presence, not presents. Maya will remember the time we spent together, not the things I bought her. I need to remember this when I'm tired. When she asks me to play, I should say yes. The overtime money can wait. She can't. Lesson 3. Debt is a chain that passes to those you love. I never want Maya to inherit my mistakes. Every dollar I owe is a dollar she might have to pay someday. I need to clear our debts before I die. No kid should start life paying for their parents' choices. Maya stopped reading. Her hands were shaking. Her father had written this before he died. He'd been thinking about death, about leaving her, about making sure she'd be okay. And he'd been worried about debt. Maya knew exactly how much debt he'd left behind. $43,000. Medical bills from when Maya was little and had pneumonia. Credit card debt from years of choosing between paying bills and buying groceries. And the funeral costs that insurance barely covered. Her mother was still paying it off, would be paying it off for years. Lesson 4. Rich in relationships beats rich in things. The richest man I know is Mr. Johnson down the hall. He's got nothing but his Social Security check. But every Sunday, his apartment is full of people. Kids, grandkids, neighbors. Everyone wants to be near him because he's kind and wise and present. That's what I want Maya to remember about me. Not what I bought her, who I was when I was with her. Maya closed the notebook. She couldn't read anymore. The words were too heavy, too true, too late. Her father had understood everything. He'd known that time mattered more than money, that presence mattered more than presents. That debt was a burden that outlived the person who created it. But he'd still bought her that $800 tablet. He'd still worked himself to exhaustion. He'd still climbed that scaffolding when he was too tired to be safe. Understanding something and living it were different things. Maya thought about Michael Jordan again, about how easily he'd said no to his daughter, about how the internet was destroying him for it. But maybe Jordan had read a notebook like this. Maybe someone had taught him that love wasn't about saying yes to everything. Maybe he understood what her father had known, but couldn't quite live. Or maybe he was just cheap, like everyone said. Maya didn't know, but she needed to find out. She opened her laptop and typed, "Michael Jordan, Parenting Philosophy." It was almost midnight. She had work in the morning, but sleep felt impossible now. Her father's notebook sat on her bed, full of wisdom he'd written but struggled to follow. And somewhere in Florida, Michael Jordan's daughter was probably sleeping in a mansion, completely unaware that millions of people were angry on her behalf. Maya kept searching, kept reading, kept looking for answers that might explain why some fathers said yes until it killed them, and others said no like it cost them nothing. Maya's laptop screen glowed in the dark bedroom. She found article after article about Michael Jordan. Most were about basketball. Some were about his businesses. A few talked about his family. She clicked on one titled, "Michael Jordan's Tough Love Approach to Parenting." The article was from 2019. It quoted Jordan saying he didn't want his kids to grow up spoiled, that he wanted them to understand the value of hard work, and that money could destroy children if parents weren't careful. "Sounds nice when you're a billionaire," Maya muttered. She kept reading through her father's notebook. Each page made her chest ache. Lesson 5. Work is honorable, but family is sacred. I'm proud to be a construction worker. I build things that last, schools, hospitals, homes. That matters. But I need to remember that Maya won't care what buildings I made. She'll only remember if I was there for her soccer games and school plays. I missed her spring concert last month because of overtime. I can't get that back. No amount of money is worth missing her childhood. Maya remembered that concert. She'd sung a solo in the 5th grade choir. She'd looked out into the audience, searching for her father's face. He wasn't there. Just her mom, looking exhausted in her nurse's scrubs, but having rushed over from her shift. Maya had told herself it was okay. Her dad was working. They needed the money. She understood. But it had hurt anyway. She turned the page. Lesson 6. Pride can be expensive. Carmen asked me to take an office job at the construction company. More pay, less dangerous, better hours. I said no. Why? Because I'm good at the physical work. Because I like being with my crew. Because sitting at a desk feels like giving up. But that's pride talking. Pride that might cost my family everything. I need to think about this harder. What serves my ego versus what serves my family? Maya's hands trembled. Her father had been offered a safer job? She'd never known that. Her mother had never mentioned it. She got up and walked quietly down the hall. Her mother's bedroom door was closed. A line of light showed underneath. Carmen was still awake. Maya knocked softly. "Come in, baby." Carmen was sitting up in bed, reading something on her tablet. She worked the night shift at the hospital 3 times a week, and her sleep schedule was always confused. Her eyes were tired, with dark circles underneath. "Can't sleep?" Carmen asked. "I found Dad's notebook." Carmen's face changed. She set down her tablet. "Oh, did you know he wrote all this stuff? About money and parenting and life?" "I knew he kept a journal. I never read it. It felt too private." Maya sat on the edge of her mother's bed. "Mom, did Dad get offered an office job?" Carmen was quiet for a long moment. "Yes, about 6 months before he died." "Why didn't he take it?" "Your father was complicated. He was the smartest man I ever knew, but he had blind spots, and he thought providing meant working the hardest job, earning every dollar through sweat. He didn't understand that being alive for you was more important than any paycheck." "Did you fight about it?" "Every day." Carmen's voice cracked. "I begged him to take that office job. It paid more. It was safer. He could have been home for dinner every night. But he said his crew needed him, that he couldn't abandon the guys who depended on him." Maya thought about the viral video again. "Do you think Dad loved me too much? Like, in a way that hurt us?" Carmen reached out and took Maya's hand. "Your father loved you perfectly, but he loved you in the only way he knew how. His own father abandoned him when he was 10. Your dad promised himself he'd never leave his child wanting. He kept that promise. Nukum, but he didn't understand that you didn't want things. You wanted him." "The art tablet," Maya whispered. "That damn tablet." Carmen shook her head. "I was so angry when he bought it. We fought for days. But you know what? He was right about one thing. You are talented. That tablet helped you grow as an artist. You've done beautiful work with it." "But it wasn't worth—" "Don't." Carmen's voice was sharp. "Don't you dare finish that sentence. Your father's death wasn't about the tablet. It wasn't about any single choice. It was about a scaffolding company that cut corners on safety. It was about wind conditions that day. It was about bad luck and corporate greed, and 1,000 things beyond your father's control. But if he'd taken the office job, he'd still be here. I know. I think about that every single day." Tears rolled down Carmen's cheeks. "But Maya, you can't live in the land of what if. It'll destroy you. Trust me, I've tried." Maya leaned against her mother. They sat together in silence for a while. Finally, Carmen spoke again. "Why are you thinking about all this tonight?" Maya told her about the video, about Michael Jordan and the jet ski, and the internet's anger. Carmen listened, then laughed softly. "People love to judge what they don't understand." "What do you mean?" "Maybe Jordan's teaching his daughter something your father knew but couldn't quite live. Maybe he's saying no because he understands that yes can be dangerous. Maybe he's protecting her from becoming someone who thinks love equals spending. Or maybe he's just cheap. Maybe. But which story helps you more? And the one where rich people are terrible? Or the one where someone learned from mistakes and chose differently?" Maya didn't answer. She wasn't sure. Carmen pulled her daughter closer. "Your father left you something more valuable than money. He left you that notebook, those lessons. He was trying to teach you what he struggled to do himself. That's real love, baby. Not perfect love, but real. I wish he was here. Me too. Every minute of every day." Maya went back to her room an hour later. She picked up the notebook and kept reading. Lesson 7. Children remember feelings, not price tags. Maya's birthday party last year. I spent $400 we didn't have on decorations, food, entertainment. She smiled and said, "Thank you." But you know what she talks about most? The time I took her to the free concert in Millennium Park. We sat on the grass. I ate hot dogs from a street vendor and watched the sunset. Cost me $12 total. She says it was the best day ever. I need to remember this. The best things are often the cheapest. Lesson 8. Financial stress kills slowly. I can feel it in my body. The weight of bills, the fear of not having enough. It makes my chest tight, my head ache. I snap at Carmen when she doesn't deserve it. I'm too tired to play with Maya. Money stress is stealing my life while I'm trying to earn a living. This has to change. But how? Maya closed the notebook. Her father had known everything he needed to know. He'd written it all down, but knowing and doing were two different universes. She opened her laptop again and searched for Jasmine Jordan's social media. If she was going to understand that viral moment, she needed to hear from the daughter, and not just judge the father. Jasmine's Instagram appeared. Photos of her at charity events, working with kids, running basketball camps. Her bio said, "Founder Beyond the Court, teaching kids that success is measured in impact, not income." Maya clicked through the photos. In one, Jasmine was teaching a group of children in Chicago, Maya's own city, how to dribble a basketball. The kids looked happy. Jasmine looked genuinely engaged, not like some rich person doing charity for photos. Maya found a blog post from June 2024, just a month before the viral video. The title made her stop breathing. "The best gift my dad never gave me." She started reading, and everything began to shift. Maya read Jasmine Jordan's blog post 3 times. Each time, her understanding shifted a little more. The post talked about when Jasmine was 13 years old. She'd wanted a horse. Not just any horse, a championship show horse that cost $60,000. "I begged my dad for months," Jasmine had written. "I showed him pictures. I made presentations about how riding would teach me discipline. I promised I'd take care of it myself. But he said no." Maya kept reading. "I was so angry. My friends had horses. Why couldn't I? We had the money. Dad could buy 10 horses without even noticing the cost. But he didn't just say no. He made me work at a stable for the entire summer, mucking stalls, feeding horses, cleaning equipment. I was mad the whole first week. But then something changed. I realized I didn't actually want a horse. I wanted the idea of a horse, the pretty photos, the status. When I had to do the real work, the early mornings, the smell, and the constant care. I understood the difference between wanting something and being ready for it. My dad taught me that lesson without lecturing. He just made me live it. That summer taught me more than owning a horse ever could have. It taught me that responsibility comes before rewards, that wanting something isn't the same as deserving it, that the best gifts are often the ones we earn ourselves. Maya sat back in her chair. The blog post had 2,000 comments. Most people praised Jasmine for her wisdom. A few called her spoiled anyway, but the message was clear. Maybe that jet ski video wasn't what it looked like. Maya looked at the clock. It was almost 2 in the morning. She had to work at 9. But her mind was racing too fast for sleep. She clicked on the Beyond the Court website. The organization's mission statement said they provided sports equipment and mentorship to kids who couldn't afford it. Last year alone, they'd helped 5,000 children across 15 cities. There were photos of Jasmine at events in Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, and Chicago. Lots of Chicago photos. Maya found a contact form on the website. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. What was she even doing? Why did she care so much about this? But she knew why. If Michael Jordan was actually teaching his daughter something valuable by saying no, then maybe her own father's endless yeses hadn't been the only way to love. Maybe there were different paths. Maybe her anger at her father's choices could coexist with love for who he was. She started typing. Dear Beyond the Court, my name is Maya Patterson. I'm 15 years old and I live in Chicago. I saw the viral video of Mr. Jordan and his daughter at the marina. Everyone online is saying he was wrong for not buying the jet ski, but I've been thinking about it differently. My dad died 3 years ago. He was a construction worker who always said yes to everything I wanted. He worked himself to exhaustion trying to give me stuff. He left us with debt instead of savings. I loved him so much, but I'm starting to wonder if saying yes to everything was actually the best kind of love. I read Jasmine's blog post about the horse. It made me think about my own father's choices differently. I don't know if I'm making sense. I guess I just want to understand why some parents say no when they could say yes, and why some parents say yes even when they should say no. My dad kept a notebook full of lessons about money and parenting. He knew all the right things, he wrote them down, but he couldn't quite live them. And now he's gone, and I'm trying to understand what it all means. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to tell someone who might understand. Thank you for the work you do for kids like me. Maya Patterson. She read it over twice, then hit send before she could change her mind. The confirmation message appeared. Thank you for contacting Beyond the Court. We read every message and will respond within 5 to 7 business days. Maya closed her laptop. Her eyes were burning from staring at the screen so long. She finally climbed into bed, but sleep didn't come easy. She dreamed about her father. He was building something huge, brick by brick. She kept asking him to stop, to rest, to come play with her. But he just smiled and said, Almost done, Maya Bear, almost done. The building kept getting taller, reaching into the clouds, and her father kept climbing higher and higher until she couldn't see him anymore. She woke up with tears on her face. The next morning at work, Maya could barely focus. She burned a hot dog. She gave a customer the wrong change. Her boss, Mr. Rivera, finally pulled her aside. You okay, Maya? You seem distracted today. I'm fine, just didn't sleep well. Everything okay at home? Yeah, everything's fine. But it wasn't fine. Maya felt like something was shifting inside her. Like a puzzle piece she'd been forcing into the wrong spot for 3 years was finally sliding into its proper place. And it hurt. During her lunch break, she checked her email. Nothing yet from Beyond the Court, and she didn't expect anything. Why would a famous person's foundation respond to some random teenager? Keisha texted her, You still thinking about that Jordan video? Girl, let it go. Rich people gonna rich people. Maya texted back, It's not about the money. Then what's it about? Maya stared at her phone. How could she explain? She typed and deleted 5 different responses. Finally, she just wrote, I don't know yet. That evening, Carmen came home from her day shift, looking exhausted. She'd picked up extra hours again. The hospital was always short-staffed, and Carmen could never say no when they called. Mom, you need to rest, Maya said. I'm fine, baby. We've got bills to pay. We always have bills to pay. When do you get to just exist? Carmen looked at her daughter with surprise. Oh, what's gotten into you? I've been reading Dad's notebook. He wrote about working too much, about missing important things, about how money stress was killing him. And you're doing the same thing. Maya, I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You could work less. We could spend less. We could figure something out. And what? Let the bills pile up? End up on the street? Dad's lessons in that notebook. He knew what mattered. He just couldn't stop himself from sacrificing everything. Are you going to make the same mistake? Carmen's face hardened. Your father didn't make a mistake. He loved us. I know he did. But Mom, he would still be here if he'd taken that office job. You know it. I know it. Love isn't enough if you're dead. The words hung in the air like smoke. Carmen's eyes filled with tears. You think I don't know that? Carmen's voice shook. You think I don't lie awake every night wishing he'd made different choices? But I won't dishonor his memory by saying his love was wrong. I'm not saying his love was wrong. I'm saying his choices were. Maya was crying now too. And I'm saying you're making the same ones. Carmen sat down heavily at the kitchen table. She looked small suddenly, fragile in a way Maya had never noticed. I'm so tired, Carmen whispered. I'm so tired of trying to keep us afloat. But what else can I do? Maya sat next to her mother and took her hand. I don't know, Mom. But there has to be another way. Dad wrote in his notebook that he wanted to do better, that he knew things had to change. Maybe we can figure out what he couldn't. They sat together in the quiet apartment, both crying, both lost, and both trying to find a way forward through grief that still felt fresh after 3 years. Maya's phone buzzed. She ignored it at first, but it buzzed again and again. Finally, she checked it. An email. From beyond the court. Her heart stopped. The subject line read, your message. Jasmine would like to speak with you. Maya's hands started shaking. She clicked it open. Dear Maya, your email moved us deeply. Jasmine read it herself and wants to connect with you personally. We're hosting a youth sports event at the United Center in Chicago on August 24th. We'd like to invite you as our special guest. If you're interested, please reply with your contact information and a parent or guardian's signature. We look forward to meeting you. Warmly, the Beyond the Court team. Maya looked at her mother, who was wiping her eyes with a tissue. Oh, Mom, something just happened. Something big. She showed Carmen the email. Her mother read it twice, her expression shifting from confusion to wonder. They want to meet you? Michael Jordan's organization? I guess so. Why? I don't know. I just told them about Dad, about the video, about trying to understand everything. Carmen stared at the email for a long moment. Then she looked at her daughter with something new in her eyes. Not just exhaustion, not just grief, something like hope. August 24th. That's next Saturday. Can I go? Can you go? Maya, we're going together. If they want to talk about your father, if they want to help you understand something I can't explain, then we're both going. Maya threw her arms around her mother. For the first time in days, the weight in her chest felt a little lighter. And maybe there were answers. Maybe someone out there understood what she was struggling with. Maybe the viral video was just the beginning of a story she needed to hear. Outside their apartment window, Chicago's summer evening faded into night. Somewhere in that city, in the United Center where her father had once watched Michael Jordan play, someone was reading her words and seeing her pain and deciding she mattered. Maya didn't know what would happen next, but for the first time since her father died, she felt like maybe, just maybe, there was a reason for all of it. A reason she was about to discover. The week before the event crawled by like a wounded animal, Maya checked her email every hour, terrified the invitation would disappear. She read Jasmine Jordan's blog posts over and over, yet she watched old videos of Michael Jordan playing basketball, trying to see past the legend to find the father. Her mother signed the permission form that night. They responded to Beyond the Court the next morning. "We'll be there. Thank you for this opportunity. Maya Patterson and Carmen Patterson." The reply came within an hour. "We're so glad. Jasmine is looking forward to meeting you both. Please arrive at 10 a.m. Ask for Jasmine at the west entrance. A staff member will be expecting you." Maya told Keisha everything during their shift at Navy Pier on Tuesday. "Wait, wait, wait!" Keisha stopped, squirting ketchup on a hot dog. "You're going to meet Michael Jordan's daughter? At the United Center?" "I think so. Maybe. I don't know if he'll be there." "Girl, if Michael Jordan is in that building, you better get me an autograph." "This isn't about autographs, Keisha." "Then what's it about?" Maya struggled to find words. "It's about understanding why my dad did what he did. Why he couldn't stop working even though he knew better. Why some people say yes and some people say no. And what that means about love." Keisha stared at her. "That's deep. Too deep for a Tuesday." But Maya couldn't think about anything else. At night, she reread her father's notebook. During the day, she researched Beyond the Court's work. The organization had donated over $2 million worth of equipment to underprivileged kids. They'd built basketball courts in 15 cities. They ran mentorship programs pairing professional athletes with at-risk youth. And Jasmine Jordan ran it all. She was only 31, but she'd been doing this work for 8 years. Friday night, Maya tried on 5 different outfits. Nothing felt right. Too casual, too formal, too trying, too hard. Carmen came into her room and laughed. "Baby, you're meeting people who care about helping kids. Just be yourself." "What if I say something stupid?" "Then you say something stupid. They invited you because of what you wrote, not because you're perfect." Maya finally chose jeans and her best t-shirt, a simple blue one without any logos or stains. She barely slept that night. Saturday morning arrived hot and humid. Classic Chicago summer. Maya and Carmen took the train to the United Center, neither speaking much. Carmen held Maya's hand the whole way, something she hadn't done since Maya was little. The United Center looked massive and imposing in the morning light, a home of the Chicago Bulls, the house that Jordan built. Maya's father had brought her here once when she was 8 to watch a game. She barely remembered it, but she remembered her father's excitement. How happy he'd been to share something he loved. They found the west entrance. A woman in a Beyond the Court polo shirt was waiting. "Maya Patterson, that's me. I'm Nicole. Welcome. Jasmine is so excited to meet you. Follow me." They walked through empty corridors. The arena was quiet, peaceful in a way Maya didn't expect. Nicole led them to a large gym area where kids were already gathering. Maybe 200 of them, all ages, all excited. "This is our summer skills clinic," Nicole explained. "We do 6 of these every year across different cities. The kids get free equipment, coaching, lunch, and mentorship sessions." Maya saw basketball hoops set up, tables with shoes and jerseys, volunteers everywhere. The energy was electric. "Maya," she turned. A woman was walking toward them, smiling. Tall, athletic, with kind eyes. She wore shorts and a Beyond the Court t-shirt. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Jasmine Jordan. Maya's mouth went dry. "Hi, I don't know what to say." Jasmine laughed and pulled Maya into a hug. "You don't have to say anything. Your email said everything. You must be Carmen?" She hugged Maya's mother, too. Carmen looked stunned. "Thank you for inviting us," Carmen managed. We weren't expecting—" "Come on, let's go somewhere quieter." Jasmine led them to a small office off the main gym. She closed the door. muffling the sound of excited kids. "First, and I want to say, I'm sorry about your father," Jasmine said, looking directly at Maya. 3 years isn't long. Grief doesn't work on a schedule." Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. "Your email made me cry," Jasmine continued, "because I hear from a lot of kids. Some asking for money, some wanting to meet my dad, some just wanting attention. But your email was different. You were asking the right questions." "What questions?" Maya whispered. "How do we love people without destroying ourselves? How do we give without enabling? How do we teach our children what we ourselves struggle to learn?" Jasmine sat on the edge of the desk. "Those are the hardest questions." "The video," Maya said. "Everyone thinks your dad was being cheap." Jasmine smiled sadly. "I know. That's partly my fault. Well, let me tell you what really happened that day." Maya leaned forward. "We were in Jupiter, Florida, at a marina. Not for vacation, for a charity event benefiting a children's hospital. The marina owner let us film there, and I asked about the jet skis knowing someone might be recording. You knew? We hoped. My dad and I have been trying to start conversations about money and values for years. Social media is powerful. We thought if we could get people talking about whether rich parents should buy their kids everything, maybe some good conversations would happen." "But everyone just got mad at him," Carmen said. "Exactly. They missed the point entirely. The point wasn't that I couldn't have a jet ski. The point was asking why I needed one. Why ownership instead of experience? Why accumulation instead of access?" Jasmine stood and walked to the window overlooking the gym. "My dad could buy me 100 jet skis, but what would that teach me? That wanting equals deserving? That money solves everything? That love is measured in purchases?" Maya felt tears building. "My dad bought me an expensive art tablet. We couldn't afford it. He worked extra shifts to pay for it. And then he died working one of those shifts." "And you think the tablet killed him?" Jasmine said gently. "Didn't it?" "No. A scaffolding company that cut safety corners killed him. An accident killed him. Bad luck killed him. But love? Love didn't kill him. Love was just the reason he was there." Carmen was crying now. "Everyone keeps saying that. But if he'd just stopped, if he'd just said no, if he'd still be your husband. I and Maya's father," Jasmine finished. "I know. And I'm not going to tell you that everything happens for a reason or that time heals all wounds or any of that garbage people say. But I will tell you this. Your husband understood something my father teaches. That providing for family is noble. That working hard matters. That showing love through action is real." "But he did it wrong," Maya said. "He knew better. His notebook proves it. He wrote down all the right lessons, but he couldn't live them." "Maya, that's what makes him human." Jasmine sat down next to her. "My dad is Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever. But you know what? He failed at baseball. He made business mistakes. He wasn't always a perfect father. He learned some lessons too late. We all do." "So what's the answer?" Maya asked. "How do you love someone the right way?" "There is no right way. There's just your way. Your father's way was through hard work and sacrifice. My father's way is through teaching and discipline. Your way will be different from both of them. The question isn't whether your father chose perfectly. It's whether he chose with love. And Maya? He did. That notebook proves it. He was trying so hard to get it right." The door opened. Nicole poked her head in. "Jasmine, they're ready for you." "1 minute." Jasmine turned back to Maya and Carmen. "I want you both to stay. Watch the clinic. See what we do here. And later, She paused, a small smile on her face. Later, there's someone else who wants to meet you. Maya's heart stopped. Who? You'll see. Come on. They followed Jasmine back to the gym. The kids were divided into groups now, to each with a coach. Volunteers were fitting them for shoes, handing out jerseys, explaining drills. Jasmine walked to a microphone at center court. Welcome everyone to Beyond the Court's Chicago Summer Clinic. The kids cheered. I want to tell you all something important. You're here because someone believes in you. Maybe a parent, maybe a teacher, maybe a coach. Someone saw potential in you and made sure you got here today. That's what love looks like. Not buying you everything, not giving you the easy path, but believing in you enough to help you grow. Maya watched Jasmine speak. Her words were powerful, genuine. These kids were listening like their lives depended on it. My father taught me that success isn't what you get. It's what you give. Today, you're getting shoes and jerseys and coaching. But someday, you'll be the ones giving back. That's the cycle. That's the legacy. That's what matters. The kids applauded. Jasmine handed the microphone to one of the coaches and walked back to Maya. See that kid in the red jersey? She pointed to a boy, maybe 10 years old. His name is Marcus. Maya's breath caught. Like my dad. Yes. His father died 2 years ago. Car accident. His mom works 3 jobs. He almost didn't come today because he felt guilty taking time off from his part-time job helping his uncle. What changed his mind? His mom told him his father would want him here, that living isn't betraying the dead, that joy isn't disrespectful to grief. Jasmine looked at Maya. She's right. Your father wouldn't want you carrying guilt. He'd want you living fully, using that art tablet, creating beautiful things, and being young. Maya watched little Marcus dribbling a basketball, his face lit up with concentration and happiness. I don't know how to stop feeling guilty, Maya admitted. You don't stop. You just add other feelings too. Gratitude, purpose, joy. Guilt doesn't have to be the only thing you feel. Jasmine checked her watch. He's here. Are you ready? Who's here? Jasmine just smiled and nodded toward the gym entrance. A man walked in, tall, impossibly tall, wearing jeans and a black polo shirt, moving with the confidence of someone who'd owned every room he'd ever entered. Michael Jordan. Maya's legs went weak. Carmen grabbed her arm to steady her. Jordan scanned the gym, his eyes landing on Jasmine. She waved him over. He walked across the court, and every kid in the building stopped what they were doing to stare. But he walked directly to Maya. You must be Maya Patterson, he said, his voice deep and warm. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Michael Jordan held out his hand. Your father sounded like a good man. Tell me about him. Maya shook Michael Jordan's hand. His grip was firm but gentle. She felt like she was dreaming. My dad. Her voice cracked. I don't know where to start. Start anywhere, Jordan said. He gestured to some chairs by the gym wall. Let's sit. I've got time. They sat down. Maya, Carmen, Jordan, and Jasmine. The clinic continued behind them, but it felt like they were in their own private bubble. Maya took a deep breath. My dad's name was Marcus Patterson. He worked construction. He loved basketball. He loved you, actually. He had posters of you in our apartment. Jordan smiled. What else? He worked all the time, 2 jobs. He wanted to give me everything, but he was so tired. Always so tired. Maya's hands twisted in her lap. He bought me an expensive art tablet for my birthday. We couldn't afford it. He worked extra shifts to pay for it. 3 months later, he died in a scaffolding accident. Jordan was quiet for a moment. How old were you? 12. That's hard. Losing a parent at any age is hard. But 12? That's when you still need them most. The worst part is, I'm angry at him. Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. I love him so much, but I'm so angry. He knew better. He wrote a whole notebook about not working too hard, about presents being better than presents. But he couldn't stop himself. Jordan leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. Can I tell you about my father? Maya nodded. James Jordan. Everyone called him James or Mr. Jordan. He worked at General Electric. Not glamorous, not high-paying, but he worked hard every single day to provide for his family. He taught me about work ethic, about discipline, about never quitting. Jordan's voice changed, grew softer. In 1993, he was driving home from a funeral. He pulled over to rest at a highway rest area. 2 men robbed and murdered him. They threw his body in a swamp. Maya gasped. Carmen reached over and squeezed her hand. I was 30 years old, Jordan continued. I'd won 3 NBA championships. I was at the top of my career. And suddenly, my father was gone. Just like that. Random violence. Wrong place, wrong time. I'm so sorry, Maya whispered. Here's what I learned from losing him. The anger you feel? Hey, that's normal. That's love with nowhere to go. My father made choices I didn't always understand either. He drove alone on long trips when he could have flown. He stopped at rest areas instead of hotels. He took risks that seem small until something terrible happens. Jordan looked directly at Maya. But here's the thing. We can't live our lives avoiding every possible danger. Your father didn't die because he loved you. He died because accidents happen. The scaffolding company failed him. The safety systems failed him. Bad luck failed him. But his love? That didn't fail you. That's still here. But the debt is just money, Jordan interrupted. I know that sounds easy for me to say. But Maya, money comes and goes. Your father's values, his lessons, his love, those are permanent. They can't be repossessed. They can't be taken away. Jasmine spoke up. Tell her about your philosophy, Dad. Jordan nodded. After my father died, I went through a dark time. I quit basketball. I tried baseball. I was lost. Eventually, I realized something. My father's legacy wasn't what he left me in money. It was what he left me in character. So I decided, when I had my own kids, I'd teach them that. I can buy them anything in the world. Literally anything. But that doesn't mean I should. Because the best things I can give them aren't things at all. Like what? Maya asked. Time, attention, standards, expectations, the chance to fail and learn, the opportunity to work for what they want. Jordan smiled at Jasmine. This one wanted a horse when she was 13. Here we go, Jasmine laughed. A $60,000 show horse. She had the brochures, the plans, everything, and I said no. I was so mad, Jasmine added, but I made her work at a stable all summer. 6 in the morning until noon, 5 days a week, mucking stalls, feeding horses, cleaning equipment. And I learned I didn't actually want a horse, Jasmine said. I wanted the idea of one. The work part? Not so much. Jordan continued. If I'd just bought her the horse, what would she have learned? That wanting equals getting? That money solves everything? Instead, she learned about responsibility, commitment, and honest self-assessment. The jet ski video, Maya said. That's what you were doing there too. Partly. But there's more to that story. Jordan glanced at Jasmine. Should we tell her? Tell me what? Jasmine pulled out her phone and showed Maya a photo. The marina from the viral video. Beautiful boats, but clear water, the Florida sunshine. My dad didn't refuse to buy jet skis because of the money, Jasmine said. He refused because 2 months earlier, he'd bought the entire marina. Maya's eyes widened. What? $4.2 million, Jordan said. The marina was failing, about to close. 47 people were going to lose their jobs, so I bought it. Kept every employee, raised their wages, improved the facilities. A jet ski costs about $18,000, Jasmine continued. My dad could have bought me 5 and not noticed the expense, but he'd just invested millions in creating jobs and supporting a community. That's what he wanted to teach me. That impact matters more than ownership. Maya felt her understanding shift again, like a kaleidoscope turning. So the video was us trying to make a point about values, Jordan said, but the internet missed it completely. They saw a billionaire saying no to his daughter and assumed the worst. People always assume the worst, Carmen said quietly. They assumed my husband was irresponsible for working too hard. They assume we're lazy if we have debt. They assume everything without knowing anything. Jordan nodded. That's why I wanted to meet you, Maya. Jasmine showed me your email. You weren't assuming. You were asking. That's rare. I just wanted to understand, Maya said. My dad's notebook is full of wisdom he couldn't live. He knew he should work less, be present more, stop sacrificing his health, but he couldn't stop. And I need to know why. Was he wrong? Was his love wrong? His love wasn't wrong, Jordan said firmly. His execution was human. Maya, your father was fighting against something bigger than himself. He was fighting against a culture that tells men their worth equals their paycheck, against a system that makes it nearly impossible for working people to get ahead, against his own childhood trauma. You said his father abandoned him? Maya nodded. Then he was fighting against the fear of becoming his own father. He was probably terrified of failing you the way he was failed. So he overcorrected. He worked himself to death trying to be the opposite of what hurt him. Tears streamed down Maya's face. Carmen was crying too. That's not your fault, Jordan continued. That's not about the art tablet or any single thing. That's about a man carrying wounds he never healed, trying his best with the tools he had. I miss him so much, Maya sobbed. Jordan pulled his chair closer. I know. I miss my father every single day. 24 years later, and I still want to call him when something good happens. But Maya, here's what I learned. The dead don't want our guilt. They want our joy. They want us to live the lessons they tried to teach, even if they struggled to live them themselves. Your dad wrote that notebook for you, Jasmine added. He was trying to save you from his mistakes. Honor that by learning from it, not by drowning in guilt over it. Maya wiped her eyes. How do I do that? You start by forgiving him for being human, Jordan said, and you forgive yourself for being angry about it. Both things can be true. You can love him and wish he'd made different choices. You can miss him and be angry at him. Grief isn't simple. Carmen spoke, her voice shaking. Can I ask you something, Mr. Jordan? Michael, please. How do you know when you're doing it right? As a parent? Because I'm making the same mistakes my husband did. Working too much. Trying to provide. Missing things. I can feel myself following his path, but I don't know how to stop. Jordan was quiet for a long moment. I don't have a perfect answer. I've missed games. I've been on the road for important moments. I've made mistakes, but I try to be conscious about it. I ask myself, am I doing this because my kids need it? Or because I need to feel like I'm doing enough? What's the difference? Carmen asked. Need is about them. Proving is about you. Jordan looked at both Carmen and Maya. Marcus worked hard because he loved you. But maybe some of it was also proving to himself that he wasn't his father, that he was enough, that he could provide. Sometimes love and fear get tangled up together. He was enough, Maya said. I would have given up 1,000 art tablets to have him here. I know, but he probably didn't believe that. Men, especially men who grew up without fathers, we struggle to believe we're enough just as we are. We think we have to earn love through achievement. Did your father teach you that? Jasmine asked him gently. Jordan smiled. No, my father taught me the opposite. He taught me that his love wasn't conditional on my success. But the world taught me that my worth was tied to winning. It took me years to untangle those two messages. Maya thought about her father's notebook, about how he'd known the right lessons but struggled to live them, about how knowing and doing were different things. What do I do now? Maya asked. How do I move forward? You live, Jordan said simply. You use that art tablet. You create beautiful things. You let yourself be 15 instead of carrying adult burdens. You let your mother love you without guilt. And you remember that your father's legacy isn't debt. It's you, the person he raised, the values he taught, the love he showed. Nicole appeared at Jordan's shoulder. Michael, they need you for the skills demonstration. Jordan stood. I need to go work with the kids, but Maya, Carmen, stay, watch. See what happens when we invest in young people, not just in things. He started to walk away, then turned back. One more thing, Maya. That anger you feel, use it. Channel it into your art, into your life, into making sure the next generation doesn't have to choose between presence and presence. That's how you honor your father, not by being perfect, but by learning from his struggle. Jordan walked onto the court. The kids erupted in cheers. Jasmine stayed with Maya and Carmen. He doesn't do this often, she said. Sit and talk like that. You two touched something in him. Why? Maya asked. Because you asked real questions. Because your pain is honest. Because you're trying to understand instead of just judge. Jasmine stood. I have something for you. Wait here. She disappeared into an office and came back carrying a leather journal and an envelope. My dad wanted you to have this, she said, handing Maya the journal. It's empty, for you to fill with your own lessons, to continue what your father started. Maya held the journal like it was made of glass. And this, Jasmine gave her the envelope, is something more practical, but don't open it until you get home. Promise? I promise. Maya tucked both items into her backpack. On the court, Michael Jordan was demonstrating a drill, moving with a grace that seemed impossible for someone his age. The kids watched with awe and delight. He's not perfect, Jasmine said, reading Maya's expression. He's failed at business deals. He's said things he regrets. He's made parenting mistakes. But he tries to learn. That's all any of us can do. Did the marina really have 47 employees? Maya asked. 49, actually. And now it runs free water safety programs for local kids. Because my dad learned that investment in community matters more than personal consumption. Carmen put her arm around Maya. Your father built things too. Schools, hospitals, community centers. And he died working on a new rec center for the neighborhood. He was building something that would last. Maya had never thought about it that way. Her father's death had always felt so pointless, so preventable, so wrong. But maybe there was meaning in what he was building, not just in how he died. They watched the clinic for another hour. Kids learning, laughing, trying, failing, succeeding. Getting shoes that fit. Jerseys with their names on them. Attention from coaches who cared. This was what money could do when it was used right. Not buying things for one person, but creating opportunities for many. Finally, it was time to leave. Jasmine walked them to the exit. "Thank you," Maya said, "for everything, for reading my email, for inviting us, for helping me understand. Thank you for being brave enough to ask hard questions." Jasmine hugged her. "And Maya? Use that journal. Write your story. Not the story of guilt and grief, but the story of growth and understanding. Your father would want that." On the train ride home, Maya and Carmen sat in comfortable silence. The envelope and journal felt heavy in Maya's backpack. "Can we open it now?" Maya finally asked. "You promised to wait until home." They waited, though it nearly killed Maya. When they finally got to their apartment, she carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a letter in Jordan's handwriting, and a check. Maya's hands started shaking as she read. Maya read the letter aloud, her voice shaking. "Dear Maya and Carmen, your story has stayed with me since Jasmine shared your email. I've thought about Marcus every day this week, about the choices he made, about the love that drove those choices, about the legacy he left behind. I want to help, but not in the way you might expect. I've learned that the best help creates opportunity, not dependency. So here's what I'm offering. The Michael Jordan Foundation will create a scholarship in Marcus Patterson's name. $100,000 toward Maya's college education. Full funding for Carmen to complete nurse practitioner school. 3 years of rent assistance to give your family breathing room. But there's a condition. Maya, you must work as a paid intern with Beyond the Court for the next 2 summers. Minimum wage, 20 hours per week. You'll teach financial literacy to younger kids. You'll share your father's story. You'll help other children understand what you're learning about money, values, and love. This isn't charity. This is opportunity. Your father believed in earning what you receive. This honors that belief. If you accept, contact Jasmine by September 1st. If you decline, I respect that too. Sometimes the right choice is saying no to help. Sometimes pride matters. You'll know what's right for your family. The check enclosed is separate from the scholarship. It's $18,400. That was the cost of the jet ski in the viral video, plus interest. I'm giving this to families who understand what truly matters. Use it however you need. No strings attached. Your father shook my hand once, Maya, at a 1996 charity event for construction workers. I found the photo in my archives. He looked proud to be there. You should be proud of him. With respect, Michael Jordan. Maya stared at the check. $18,400. Made out to Carmen Patterson. Carmen was crying silently, tears streaming down her face. "Mom!" "It's too much," Carmen whispered. "It's too much kindness. I don't know how to accept this." Maya looked at the letter again. "He wants me to work for it. The scholarship, I mean. The check is free, but the big money, I have to earn it." "What do you think?" Carmen asked. "I don't know." Maya felt overwhelmed, confused, grateful, and strangely resentful all at once. Part of me wants to say yes immediately. This could change our lives, Mom. College paid for, your school paid for, rent covered. But part of me is angry. Why do I have to work for it? Why are there conditions? He's a billionaire. He could just give us the money. Maya heard herself and stopped. I sound awful, don't I? You sound honest, Carmen said. And you sound like you're asking the same question everyone asked about that jet ski video. Maya sat down hard on the couch. Oh, yeah, oh. This is a test. He's teaching me the same lesson he taught Jasmine. Maybe. Or maybe he's just being consistent with his values. Maybe he really believes that earning matters more than receiving. Maya thought about her father's notebook, about Lesson 3. Debt is a chain that passes to those you love. About how her father had wanted to clear their debts before he died, but never got the chance. If we take this money, we can finally breathe, Maya said. You could quit one of your jobs. We could pay off Dad's medical bills. We could actually save money instead of just surviving. But you'd have to work 2 summers, Carmen said, teaching kids about money and values. Is that something you want to do? I don't know. I'm 15. I want to just be 15. I want to hang out with friends and make art, and not think about money and death and responsibility. Then we say no. Maya looked at her mother. Can we really do that? Can we really turn down $100,000? Maya, your father worked himself to death trying to provide for us. I won't let his daughter sacrifice her childhood for the same reason. If this scholarship feels like a burden instead of a blessing, we walk away. But you need this, Mom. The nurse practitioner program. You've wanted that for years. And I'll get there eventually, with or without this money. I won't build our future on your exhaustion. That's exactly what your father did, and look where it got us. Maya felt something crack open inside her chest. Her mother had never spoken this honestly about her father's choices before. You're angry at him too, Maya said quietly. Carmen nodded, fresh tears falling. Every single day. I loved him so much, but I'm furious at him for leaving us, for working too hard, for not taking that office job, for climbing that scaffolding when he was exhausted. I'm angry, and I feel guilty for being angry, and I'm tired of pretending I'm not. Mrs. Rodriguez called yesterday, Carmen continued. The construction company lawsuit. They're offering a settlement. $1.4 million. Final offer. We have to decide by Monday. Maya's head spun. What? Why didn't you tell me? Because you're 15 and carrying too much already. But if you're old enough to decide about this scholarship, you're old enough to know about the lawsuit. $1.4 million, Maya repeated. That's more than the scholarship. It's not about the amount. It's about what it represents. The scholarship is opportunity. The settlement is justice. They're different things. Maya stood and walked to the window. Outside, Chicago hummed with summer evening life. Kids playing in the street. People coming home from work. Normal life happening while her world tilted sideways. Can I ask you something, Mom? Honestly? Always. If we get the settlement money, do we even need the scholarship? Carmen was quiet for a long time. Need is complicated. We'd be financially stable with the settlement. But the scholarship offers you something money can't buy. Connection, purpose, a way to honor your father by helping other kids. Those things have value too. So we could take both? We could. Or we could take one. Or neither. This is your choice, Maya. Your future. Your father's legacy. You decide. Maya looked at the check in her hand. $18,400. No strings attached. And a scholarship offer worth so much more, but with conditions that felt heavy. She thought about her father working 2 jobs, about him buying her the art tablet, about him writing lessons in a notebook that he couldn't quite live himself. She thought about Michael Jordan saying no to his daughter about a jet ski, then buying a whole marina to create jobs. She thought about the difference between helping and enabling, on between generosity and dependency. I need time, Maya said finally. We don't have to decide tonight, right? The The scholarship deadline is September 1st. The lawsuit settlement needs an answer by Monday. So we have a few days for one, a few weeks for the other. Maya nodded. Can we talk about the settlement first? That feels more urgent. Carmen pulled out papers from her purse. The settlement offer. Maya read through it with her mother. Legal language, terms and conditions, a number that could change their lives. What do you think Dad would want us to do? Maya asked. I think he'd want us to be smart, to take the settlement, to finally be free of financial stress, to use the money wisely and live well. But what do you want? Carmen looked at her daughter with tired, honest eyes. I want to stop being angry at your father. I want to forgive him for dying. I want to move forward without feeling like I'm betraying his memory. And I think taking this settlement might help me do that. It closes the chapter. It says, this terrible thing happened, but we survived. And now we're building something new. Then we should take it, Maya said. You're sure? No. But I'm sure that we can't keep living like this, scared, broke, exhausted. Dad wouldn't want that. His notebook proves it. He wanted better for us. He just couldn't figure out how to make it happen. Carmen called Mrs. Rodriguez right then, put her on speaker. We'll accept the settlement, Carmen said. 1.4 million. Final offer. Excellent decision, Mrs. Rodriguez said. I'll draw up the paperwork. You should receive the first payment within 60 days, and the rest within 6 months. When they hung up, Maya and Carmen sat together in silence. Something had shifted. A decision had been made. A door had closed, and another was opening. Now the scholarship, Carmen said. That's a different question. Maya picked up the leather journal Jordan had given her. Empty pages, waiting for her to fill them with her own lessons, her own wisdom, her own story. She thought about the kids at the clinic, about little Marcus, whose father had died in a car accident, about Keisha's comment that rich people were just different, about the viral video and the internet's anger and the truth beneath the surface. I want to do it, Maya said slowly. Not because we need the money now, but because I want to understand what I'm learning. And I want to teach other kids so I don't become my father, knowing the right things but not living them. That's a good reason, Carmen said. But Maya, be honest. Will working 20 hours a week for 2 summers feel like a burden? Will it steal your childhood? Because I won't trade your well-being for college money. Maya thought hard. Maybe it depends on what I'm working on. If I'm just stuffing envelopes or filing papers, yeah, that would be awful. But teaching kids about money and values, sharing Dad's story, maybe that helps me process everything. Maybe that's healing instead of burden. You're very wise for 15, Carmen said softly. I learned from the best. From a man who wrote beautiful lessons in a notebook, even if he couldn't live them all. And from a woman who works herself to exhaustion, but still puts her daughter first. Carmen pulled Maya into a hug. They held each other, crying and laughing at the same time. We're going to be okay, Carmen whispered. For the first time in 3 years, I actually believe it. We're going to be okay. That night, Maya opened the empty journal. On the first page, she wrote, Lessons I'm learning. 1. Saying yes isn't always love. Sometimes saying no is the bigger gift. 2. My father made mistakes, but his love was real. Both things are true. 3. Money can't buy time, but it can buy freedom from constant worry. That's worth something. 4. Understanding what to do and being able to do it are different. Give people grace for the gap between knowing and living. 5. Legacy isn't what you leave behind in money. It's what you leave behind in people. She stopped writing. 5 lessons. Her father had written dozens. She had a long way to go, but it was a start. The next morning was Sunday. Maya woke up to her phone buzzing. A text from Keisha. "So? How was meeting MJ's daughter? Tell me everything." Maya smiled. She'd been so caught up in the heavy stuff that she'd forgotten to tell her best friend about the day. She texted back, "Come over. I'll tell you in person. It's complicated." While she waited for Keisha, Maya looked at her father's signed basketball. It sat on a shelf in the living room, dusty and ignored. She got a cloth and wiped it clean. The signature was faded, but still readable. Michael Jordan, 1996. Maya picked up her phone and Googled Michael Jordan, 1996, charity event, Chicago construction workers. Articles popped up. She clicked the first one. Bulls star raises $200,000 for construction workers' safety fund. The article talked about a charity basketball game and silent auction. The money went to families of construction workers injured or killed on the job. Michael Jordan had donated personal items for auction and played in the exhibition game himself. Her father had been there, supporting his colleagues, thinking about safety, caring about his community, and he'd gotten Jordan's autograph that night. Maya felt tears rising again, but they were different this time. Not just grief, not just anger, something closer to understanding. Her father had been trying. He'd known about workplace safety. He'd cared about it enough to attend that charity event. But knowing about something and being protected by it were different things. And the scaffolding company had failed him. The system had failed him. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't her fault. It was just tragedy. Keisha arrived 20 minutes later, breathless and excited. "Okay, spill everything. Start from the beginning and don't leave anything out," Maya told her. About Jasmine, about Jordan, about the conversation, about the offer. Keisha's eyes got wider and wider. "Wait, Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan, sat with you for like an hour and talked about your dad?" "Yeah." "And he's offering you a full scholarship?" "If I work for it, 2 summers, teaching financial literacy." "Girl, that's amazing. You said yes, right?" Maya hesitated. "I'm thinking about it." "Thinking about it? Thinking about $100,000? It's not that simple, Keisha." "Yes, it is. Free college. Your mom gets to go to school." "How is this complicated?" Maya tried to explain. "About the conditions, about earning versus receiving, about wanting to just be 15, about the lawsuit settlement, about all of it." Keisha listened, then sat back. "Okay, I get it now. This isn't about the money. It's about what the money means." "Exactly." "So what does it mean to you?" Maya thought. "It means someone sees me. Someone thinks I'm worth investing in. Someone believes I can help other kids. But it also means responsibility, commitment, growing up faster than I want to." "Your dad worked 2 jobs so you could have a future," Keisha said gently. "This is someone offering to help with that future, but asking you to work 1 job, part-time, for 2 summers, that's not the same thing." "I know. And you'd be teaching, not breaking your back on a construction site. But you'd be sharing your story, not sacrificing your health. Maya, this is totally different from what your dad did." Maya looked at her best friend. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just haven't been listening." Keisha grinned. "For real, though, I think you're scared." "Of what?" "Of accepting help, of things getting better, of moving forward. Because as long as you're stuck in guilt and grief, you don't have to face the future. You don't have to risk being happy again." The words hit Maya like cold water. Keisha was right. "I'm terrified," Maya admitted. What if I take the scholarship and mess it up? What if I'm a terrible teacher? What if I can't handle the responsibility? What if I let everyone down? Then you'll be human, like your dad, like Jordan, like everyone. Keisha grabbed Maya's hands. Girl, listen to me. You've been carrying your father's death like it's your fault for 3 years. It's time to put that weight down. Take the help, do the work. Honor your dad by living, not by drowning in guilt. Maya squeezed her friend's hands. How did I get so lucky to have you? Because you're a good person who deserves good friends. Now, are you going to email Jasmine and say yes? Or do I have to do it for you? Maya laughed through tears. I'll do it, but not today. I need a few more days to be sure. Fair enough, but Maya, I already know what you're going to choose. You're going to say yes, because you're brave and you're ready, even if you don't feel like it yet. After Keisha left, Maya sat with her father's notebook and the empty journal side by side. Past and future, lessons learned and lessons yet to come. She picked up a pen and added to her list, 6. Accepting help isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. 7. Fear is normal. Moving forward anyway is courage. 8. You can honor the dead by living fully, not by staying stuck in grief. She still had a decision to make, but for the first time in 3 years, Maya felt like maybe, just maybe, she was ready to choose life over guilt. Ready to move forward while still carrying her father's love. Ready to become who he'd hoped she'd be, even without him here to see it. The scholarship deadline was September 1st. She had 3 weeks to decide. 3 weeks to figure out if she was ready to accept an impossible gift with complicated strings attached. 3 weeks to determine if working for what she received honored her father's memory or repeated his mistakes. And 3 weeks to choose between safety and growth. Maya didn't know what she'd decide, but she was finally asking the right questions. And somehow, that felt like progress. 3 days later, Maya still hadn't made her decision. The scholarship offer sat on the kitchen table like a ticking clock. Carmen had framed the check for $18,000. They'd deposited it, but Carmen wanted to remember the moment, the kindness behind it. Maya spent those days painting. She used her art tablet, the one her father had worked so hard to buy her. She created a portrait of him from memory. His smile, his tired eyes, his work-worn hands. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. On Wednesday afternoon, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Maya? It's Jasmine Jordan. Maya sat up straight on her bed. Oh, hi. I was going to email you soon. I'm still thinking about... That's actually why I'm calling, Jasmine interrupted gently. Can you come back to the United Center tomorrow? There's something I need to show you. Something about the jet ski video. What about it? I can't explain over the phone, but Maya, it's important. It changes the whole story. Maya's heart raced. Okay. What time? 2 o'clock? Just you this time, if that's okay. Your mom can come if you need her, but this is really for you. I'll be there. Maya hung up and stared at her phone. What could possibly change the story more than it already had changed? She knew the video was staged. She knew about the marina purchase. What else was there? She texted her mom at work. Jasmine wants me to come to United Center tomorrow at 2. And says she has something important to show me about the video. Carmen replied immediately. Want me to come? She said just me. Is that okay? You're 15, old enough to take the train alone. Text me when you get there and when you leave. Be safe. Love you. Maya couldn't sleep that night. Her mind raced with possibilities. What secret could the video still hold? Thursday arrived hot and sticky. Maya took the train to the United Center, arriving 10 minutes early. Jasmine was waiting at the same entrance, wearing workout clothes and a serious expression. "Thanks for coming," Jasmine said, hugging her. "I debated whether to show you this, but my dad said you deserve the whole truth." "You're scaring me." "Don't be scared. I'm prepared for the story to get more complicated." Jasmine led Maya through the empty corridors to a small conference room. A laptop sat open on the table, paused on a video file. "You've seen the viral clip," Jasmine said. 15 seconds. "My dad refusing to buy jet skis." "Right. But that's not the whole video. The person who filmed it caught 3 minutes. They posted 15 seconds because that's what gets views and outrage. But I have the full footage." Jasmine gestured to the laptop. "The marina's security cameras caught it too. We got the footage after the video went viral." "Why didn't you release it?" "To defend your dad." "Because some truths are more valuable when people discover them themselves." "But you're asking the right questions, Maya. You deserve to see everything." Jasmine hit play. And the video started the same way. The marina, the beautiful boats, the Florida sunshine. Michael Jordan and Jasmine standing on the dock. "Dad, can we just buy a couple?" Jasmine asked, pointing at jet skis. "We come here all the time." Jordan shook his head. "We'll rent. No need to own everything. But we're here every summer. It would be cheaper to just buy them." "Jasmine, we're renting." This was where the viral clip ended, but the video kept going. Jasmine in the video smiled at her father. "Okay, but can you explain why? For the camera?" Maya's breath caught. It was definitely staged. They'd admitted that. But what came next? Jordan looked directly at the camera. He'd known it was there. "You want to know why I won't buy my daughter jet skis?" Jasmine nodded, staying in character. "Because 3 days ago, I got a letter from a father in North Carolina. His name is Dwayne Mitchell. His 14-year-old son, Cameron, died in a jet ski accident last month." Maya's hands flew to her mouth. Jordan's voice in the video was heavy with emotion. "Cameron's parents bought him that jet ski because they thought he deserved it. They couldn't really afford it, but they wanted to give him something special. The jet ski wasn't maintained properly. Cameron wasn't trained properly. He hit a wake wrong, fell off, got disoriented by the engine fumes. He drowned." The video showed Jasmine's real reaction, tears forming in her eyes. "Dwayne wrote to me because Cameron was wearing my jersey when he died. He wrote to say he was sorry for being angry at me, angry at himself, angry at the world. And he said he'd spent 20 years working extra hours to buy his son things instead of spending time teaching him skills. And now his son is dead, and Dwayne has a jet ski he can't look at without breaking down." Jordan paused, looking out at the water. "So, no, Jasmine, I won't buy you a jet ski. Not because I can't afford it, but because I'd rather spend this afternoon teaching you about water safety, about making conscious choices, about understanding that the best gifts aren't always material things. If something happened to you because I gave you something dangerous without proper preparation, all the money in the world wouldn't matter." The Jasmine in the video stepped forward and hugged her father. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too. Now, let's rent these jet skis, take a safety course, and have a great afternoon together. Present, aware, alive." The video ended. Maya was crying. Jasmine handed her tissues. "Cameron Mitchell was real?" Maya whispered. "Very real. He died on June 15, 2024. Jupiter, Florida. Same town where that marina is. His funeral was the week before we filmed that video. Why didn't you tell people this? Everyone thinks your dad is cheap. If they knew, they'd feel manipulated, Jasmine said quietly. We can't use a dead child to defend my father's parenting choices. That's exploitative. Dwayne Mitchell deserves privacy in his grief. We couldn't make Cameron's death about our image. But people should know. Why? So they feel bad for judging? So they redirect their outrage? Jasmine shook her head. Maya, my dad doesn't need defending. He knows why he makes his choices. The people who matter understand. The internet's opinion doesn't change truth. Maya wiped her eyes. I don't understand. Why are you showing me this then? Because you're not asking superficial questions. You're trying to understand the philosophy behind choices. You're grappling with the same thing your father grappled with. How do you love someone well? When do you say yes? When do you say no? What matters more? Giving people what they want, or teaching them what they need? Jasmine pulled up another file on the laptop, a news article. Cameron Mitchell drowning ruled accidental. Maya read it. Cameron had been a good student, a beloved son, an athlete. His parents were devastated. The jet ski had been purchased secondhand. The previous owner hadn't disclosed mechanical issues. The parents hadn't known to check. Cameron had been wearing a life jacket, but he'd panicked, removed it in confusion, and sank. It was preventable, Maya said. Most tragedies are. Dwayne Mitchell now runs a nonprofit called Present Parenting Foundation. He teaches water safety and work-life balance to other parents. He's trying to make sure no other father loses a son because they were too busy working to teach crucial life skills. Maya thought about her own father, about the scaffolding collapse, about safety regulations that weren't followed. My dad died at work too, Maya said, but it wasn't his fault. The company cut corners on safety. I know, but Maya, here's the hard question. Had your father taken the office job, he wouldn't have been on that scaffolding. He had a choice. He chose the dangerous job because it felt more honorable, more necessary, more him, and that choice had consequences. Are you saying it was his fault? No. I'm saying choices matter. Cameron's parents chose to buy him a jet ski they couldn't properly maintain instead of teaching him in a safer way. Your father chose the dangerous job over the safe one. My father chose to rent jet skis and teach me properly, instead of just buying them. All of these are choices. Some have tragic consequences, some don't. But the philosophy behind them matters. Maya felt angry suddenly. So, you're saying my dad made the wrong choice? I'm saying he made a human choice, a choice based on pride, love, duty, and a dozen other complicated feelings. And you're allowed to wish he'd chosen differently while still respecting that he did the best he could with what he knew. Jasmine opened another file, a photograph. Michael Jordan shaking hands with a man in work clothes. Behind them, a banner. Building Strong Communities Together. 1996 Construction Workers Safety Fund. Maya leaned forward. Is that your father? Marcus Patterson. My dad remembered him when we pulled the photo from the archives. He said Marcus had kind eyes and a firm handshake. They talked for about 5 minutes. Marcus told him about his daughter who loved to draw, about how he wanted her to have every opportunity he never had. Maya started crying again. He talked to your dad about me. He was proud of you. 28 years old, working construction, attending a charity event on his day off because he believed in workplace safety. That's who your father was, Maya. Someone who cared, someone who tried. and someone whose love was bigger than his ability to always make the perfect choice. Why did you wait until now to show me this? Because you weren't ready before. At the United Center last week, you were still in the anger phase, still thinking in black and white. Good choices versus bad choices. Right love versus wrong love. But now you're asking different questions. You're seeing the gray. That means you're ready for the complicated truth. What truth? Jasmine turned to face Maya directly. That your father's death and Cameron Mitchell's death are connected. Not literally, but philosophically. They're both stories about parents who loved too much in ways that had consequences, about the gap between intention and outcome. It's about how knowing better doesn't always mean doing better. And the jet ski video was my dad's attempt to start a conversation, to make parents think before buying their kids dangerous toys, to remind people that saying no can be love too. But it got misunderstood. People saw a billionaire denying his daughter and missed the deeper point entirely. Until now, Maya said. Until now, because you were willing to look deeper, to ask why, to sit with complexity instead of rushing to judgment. Maya looked at the photo of her father again. So young, so hopeful, so proud to be meeting Michael Jordan. Can I have a copy of this? It's yours. We printed it for you. Jasmine handed her an envelope. Inside was an 8x10 print of the photo, professionally matted. There's something else in there, Jasmine said. Maya pulled out a second document, a news clipping from July 2024, just a month ago. Dwayne Mitchell's Present Parenting Foundation partners with Beyond the Court. She read quickly. The two organizations had joined forces. Beyond the Court would fund water safety programs in 10 cities. They'd teach swimming, boating safety, and jet ski operation to underprivileged kids whose parents couldn't afford lessons. The first program launches in Chicago next summer, Jasmine said. We're calling it the Cameron Mitchell Water Safety Initiative. We want to teach 500 kids in the first year. That's amazing. We want to name the Chicago program after your father, too. The Marcus Patterson Memorial Water Safety Program. Teaching kids the skills that save lives. They're funded by people who understand that the best gifts are education and preparation, not just things. Maya couldn't speak. Her throat was too tight. The scholarship offer includes working on this program, Jasmine continued. You'd help recruit families, share your story, help kids understand why safety matters, why being present matters, why learning matters more than owning. Why me? Because you understand the cost of good intentions without proper preparation. Your father's death wasn't about him being on a scaffolding. It was about a company that didn't prioritize safety, that didn't train properly, that cut corners. Cameron's death wasn't about the jet ski. It was about parents who didn't know how to teach water safety, didn't maintain equipment, didn't understand the risks. Both preventable, Maya said. Both preventable. And both absolutely heartbreaking. But Maya, we can't bring back the dead. We can only honor them by protecting the living. That's what this program does. That's what your father would want. Maya held the photo of her father, looking so young and alive and hopeful. She thought about Cameron Mitchell, wearing a Michael Jordan jersey when he died. She thought about her own anger, her own guilt, her own confusion about what love should look like. I want to say yes, Maya said slowly, to the scholarship, to the work, to all of it. But I'm scared. Of what? Of not being good enough, of letting people down, of making promises I can't keep. My dad made promises to provide, to be there, to give me everything. He kept working until it killed him. What if I'm like him? What if I take on too much and break under the weight? Jasmine smiled gently. Then you'll learn to set boundaries, to say no when you need to ask for help, to be human. Maya, the scholarship isn't asking you to sacrifice yourself. It's asking you to share what you've learned while learning more yourself. 20 hours a week. Summer only. That's not your father's 70-hour weeks. That's not sacrificing your health. That's just participation. What if I'm not ready? Nobody's ever ready. We just do our best and adjust as we go. Jasmine stood. You don't have to decide right now. Think about it. Talk to your mom. But Maya, whatever you decide, you're going to be okay. With the settlement money, you'll have financial stability. The scholarship is just an opportunity, not a lifeline. You have the luxury of choice now. Use it wisely. They walked back through the empty corridors. At the exit, Jasmine hugged Maya goodbye. Thank you for showing me the truth, Maya said. Thank you for being willing to see it. Most people prefer simple stories. Good guys and bad guys. Right and wrong. You're brave enough to live in the complicated middle. That's rare. On the train home, Maya looked at the photo of her father over and over. She Googled Dwayne Mitchell and found his foundation's website. There were photos of Cameron, a beautiful boy with a bright smile, wearing basketball jerseys in almost every picture. She read Dwayne's story, how he'd worked 70-hour weeks as a software engineer, how he'd missed Cameron's swim meets and beach trips, how he'd thought providing meant working, not playing. I bought my son a jet ski because I felt guilty for never being there, Dwayne had written. I thought the gift would make up for my absence. Instead, it killed him. Now I spend every day teaching other parents. Your children don't need your money. They need your time. They need your wisdom. They need you to teach them how to be safe in a dangerous world. Maya closed her laptop and pulled out her journal. She wrote, 9. Good intentions without proper preparation can be deadly. 10. You can't buy safety. You have to teach it. 11. The best way to honor the dead is to protect the living. 12. Sometimes the hardest gift to give is time, but it's the most important one. When she got home, Carmen was making dinner. Maya showed her the photo of Marcus and Michael Jordan. Carmen stared at it for a long time, untouching her husband's face through the glass. He was so young. We both were. Did he tell you he met Jordan? He mentioned it. But your father wasn't the type to brag. He just said he'd gone to a work safety event and had a good time. Carmen smiled through tears. He was humble like that. Even meeting his hero was just another day to him. Mom, I want to accept the scholarship. Carmen looked up. You're sure? I'm sure. Not because we need the money. We'll be okay with the settlement. But because I need the purpose. I need to learn how to teach what Dad knew but couldn't live. I need to help other kids avoid the mistakes our parents made. That's a good reason. And Mom? I think you should enroll in nurse practitioner school too. Not because of the scholarship money, but because you've wanted it forever. Because you deserve to have your own dreams, not just work to survive. Carmen pulled her daughter into a hug. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best, from a man who wrote beautiful lessons, even when he struggled to live them, and from a woman who kept our family together, even when everything fell apart. That night, Maya emailed Jasmine. Dear Jasmine, I accept the scholarship. All of it. The college funding, the nurse practitioner school for my mom, the rent assistance, and the work with Beyond the Court. I'm ready to honor my father by doing what he tried to teach me, that love is more than providing. It's preparing. It's teaching. It's being present. Thank you for showing me the whole truth about the jet ski video. Thank you for helping me see my father's life and death with compassion instead of just anger. I promise to work hard, to share his story, to help other kids understand what I'm still learning. See you next summer. With gratitude, Maya Patterson. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Then she opened her art tablet and started a new project. A series of drawings about her father. Not just him, but his lessons, his notebook, his love, his struggle, his humanity. She'd call it the gift of presence. And someday, when she taught kids about money and values and love, she'd share these drawings. She'd tell them about Marcus Patterson, who knew all the right things but struggled to live them. About Cameron Mitchell, who died because his parents didn't know how to keep him safe. About Michael Jordan, who said no to a jet ski and yes to creating jobs and teaching wisdom. She'd tell them the truth, that love is complicated, and that good people make imperfect choices, that knowing better and doing better are two different things, and most importantly, that they could learn from all of it. They could become the generation that finally closed the gap between what they knew and how they lived. Maya drew until midnight, her father's face taking shape on her screen. Tired eyes, gentle smile, calloused hands that built things meant to last. "I'm going to make you proud, Dad," she whispered, "not by being perfect, but by being honest, by learning from your struggle, by living the lessons you tried so hard to teach." Outside her window, Chicago slept. And somewhere in that vast city, other families were making choices about work and love and sacrifice. Some would get it right, some would get it wrong. Most would land somewhere in the complicated middle. But Maya was ready now, ready to share her story, ready to honor her father's memory, not by drowning in guilt, but by swimming toward purpose. The jet ski video had been a beginning, a crack in her understanding that let the light in. Now she was ready to shine that light for others. Maya woke up Friday morning to her phone buzzing. Multiple texts from Jasmine. "Welcome to the Beyond the Court family. My dad wants to talk to you. Can you call at 10 a.m.? Also, legal question. About your dad's case, call me." Maya's stomach dropped. She checked the time. 9:30. She threw on clothes and ran to the kitchen where Carmen was drinking coffee before her shift. "Mom, Jasmine texted about Dad's lawsuit." "What's going on?" Carmen's face went pale. "I was going to tell you this morning. Mrs. Rodriguez called last night after you went to bed. And? The construction company's lawyers want to meet. Today. They're flying to Chicago specifically to finalize the settlement in person." "That's good, right?" "Maya, they're offering more money. 2.1 million. But they want us to sign a non-disclosure agreement." "What does that mean?" "It means we can never talk about what happened to your father. Not publicly, not to the press. We can't share the details of the case, the settlement amount, or any safety violations we discovered. We just take the money and stay silent." Maya sat down hard. "They want to buy our silence." "Yes. Can they do that?" "It's legal. Common, actually, in corporate settlements. They don't want publicity about their safety failures." Maya's mind raced. But Jasmine wants to name the water safety program after Dad. That means talking about how he died. If we sign this NDA, can we still do that?" Carmen looked stricken. "I don't know. That's why Mrs. Rodriguez wants us at her office at noon, to read everything carefully before we sign." "Does the scholarship offer know about this?" "I don't know how they could. The lawsuit is separate." Maya grabbed her phone and called Jasmine. She answered on the first ring. Maya, good morning. Did you get my texts? Yeah. What's this about our lawsuit? My dad has lawyers who specialize in construction safety cases. He asked them to look into your father's accident. Not to interfere, just to review the public records. Maya, there's something wrong with your settlement offer. What do you mean? The company that owned the scaffolding? And they're being investigated by OSHA for 43 safety violations across 6 states. They've had 12 worker deaths in 5 years. Your father's case is part of a pattern. Maya felt sick. So why are they offering us more money? To silence you. If you sign that NDA, you can't testify if there's a criminal investigation. You can't share your father's story publicly. You can't help other families who've lost people to the same company's negligence. But we need that money. I know, and that's your choice to make. But Maya, my dad wanted you to know what you're choosing. Money versus justice. Silence versus truth. Neither choice is wrong. Both have consequences. Carmen was listening on speaker now. We have to be at the lawyer's office at noon. Can you postpone until Monday? Jasmine asked. Give yourself the weekend to think? They said, if we don't sign today, the offer drops back to $1.4 million. That's a pressure tactic. Classic corporate move. Make you choose fast so you don't think clearly. Maya looked at her mother. Carmen looked exhausted, torn, scared. What would your dad do? Maya asked Jasmine. Honestly? He'd probably tell you to take the money. He'd say your family's security matters more than making a point. But he'd also respect you for choosing differently, if that's what feels right. After they hung up, Maya and Carmen sat in silence. What do you want to do, Mom? I want to not have to make this choice. I want your father alive. I want the last 3 years to be different. Carmen's voice broke. But if I'm being honest, I want the money. I want to breathe. I want to stop drowning in bills and fear. I want to be able to sleep at night. Even if it means we can't talk about what happened to Dad? Maya, who's listening anyway? Who cares about one construction worker's death? The world moved on the day after your father died. Taking their money doesn't change that. But what if it does? What if our story helps other families? What if staying silent means another father dies on one of their scaffoldings? Carmen stood abruptly. Don't put that on me. Don't make me responsible for hypothetical future deaths. I'm responsible for you, for keeping us housed and fed, for surviving. That's it. Dad would want, your father is dead. Carmen's voice rose. He doesn't get to want anything anymore. I'm the one here, making impossible choices, trying to honor his memory while also keeping us alive. But don't tell me what he'd want when he's not here to help me figure it out. Maya had never heard her mother yell like that. Carmen immediately covered her mouth, tears streaming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean... Maya hugged her mother. They both cried. I'm scared, Carmen whispered. I'm so scared of making the wrong choice. Me too. They arrived at Mrs. Rodriguez's office at 11:45. The lawyer was a sharp woman in her 50s, with kind eyes and no-nonsense energy. Before we talk about the settlement, I need to explain something, Mrs. Rodriguez said. I've been representing your family for 3 years. I've done this pro bono, no charge, because I believed in your case. But I need you to know that I've also been building a class action lawsuit against this scaffolding company. Carmen stiffened. Moo, what? 12 other families have lost loved ones to the same company. Same pattern of violations. Same corporate negligence. If we all band together, we can force real change, new regulations, criminal charges, Actual accountability. How much would we get in a class action? Carmen asked. Less than 2 million. Probably closer to 800,000, after legal fees and divided among families. But it's not about the money. It's about justice. It's always about the money when you don't have any, Carmen said sharply. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. Fair point. That's why I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you information so you can choose. She laid out 2 stacks of papers. Stack 1. Accept 2.1 million today. Sign the NDA. Your case closes. You never speak publicly about it. Stack 2. Join the class action. Smaller payout, years of litigation, but potential for real change. And you can talk about Marcus freely. Share his story. Help other families. Maya looked at both stacks. Her future sat in those papers. Can we see the NDA language? She asked. Mrs. Rodriguez handed her the document. Maya read carefully, her art-trained eye catching details. This says we can't discuss the circumstances surrounding Marcus Patterson's death in any public forum, including but not limited to social media, news interviews, documentaries, books, or educational programs? That's standard, Mrs. Rodriguez said. But that means Maya can't work with Beyond the Court, Carmen realized. The whole program is about sharing Marcus's story to teach water safety and work safety. Maya kept reading. It also says, we can't participate in any organization, a foundation, or initiative that references or relates to construction safety, workplace accidents, or corporate negligence. That's broader than usual, Mrs. Rodriguez admitted. They really want to silence you completely. Why? Maya asked. Why do they care so much about our silence specifically? Because your father was the foreman. He knew about the violations. He reported them 3 times in the month before his death. If that information becomes public, it proves the company had knowledge of danger and chose to ignore it. That's criminal negligence, not just civil liability. Carmen gasped. Marcus reported safety problems? You didn't know? He never told me. I knew he'd been promoted to foreman, but Carmen couldn't finish. Mrs. Rodriguez pulled out another file. His supervisor's emails. Your husband documented everything. He took photos of the defective scaffolding. He sent detailed reports about wind ratings and weight limits being exceeded. He did everything right. Maya felt anger rising like a wave. Then why was he on that scaffolding when it collapsed? Because they threatened to fire him if he didn't finish the project on schedule. And he couldn't afford to lose his job. So he climbed up, knowing it wasn't safe. Because he had a family to feed. The room went silent. That's murder, Maya said quietly. They murdered him. Legally, it's criminal negligence at best, but you're not wrong in spirit. Carmen was shaking. I need air. I can't breathe. They took a break. Carmen stepped outside. Maya stayed in the office, staring at those 2 stacks of papers. Her phone buzzed. Keisha. How's it going? Aunt, you okay? Maya texted back. My dad was killed because he reported safety violations, and they made him work anyway. Now they want to pay us to never talk about it. That's evil. That's business. What are you going to do? I don't know. When Carmen came back inside, she looked more composed. Tell me about the class action. How long would it take? 2 to 4 years, maybe longer if they appeal. And we'd definitely get less money? Almost certainly. But you'd be free to talk about Marcus, to honor him publicly, to potentially prevent other deaths. Or we could take 2 million today and be done with it. Yes. Carmen looked at Maya. What do you want to do, baby? This affects your future, your college, your life. Maya thought about her father's notebook, about Jordan's lessons, about Cameron Mitchell drowning because his parents didn't prepare him, about choices and consequences, and the gap between knowing and doing. I want to ask you something first, Mom. Why didn't Dad tell you he reported the safety violations? Carmen was quiet for a long time. Because he knew I'd tell him to quit, to find another job, and he was too proud to quit. He thought he could fix it from the inside. He was trying to protect other workers, Mrs. Rodriguez added. The documents show he was fighting for his entire crew's safety. Maya picked up the photo Jasmine had given her father shaking Michael Jordan's hand at the 1996 construction safety event. He cared about this, workplace safety, protecting other families. That's why he was at that charity event. That's who he was. I know. So, if we take the money and sign the NDA, we're saying that his final act of courage, reporting those violations, doesn't matter. We're letting the company bury the truth along with his body. Carmen flinched. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's true. Maya, we need that money. We're getting $1.4 million anyway. The original settlement. We don't have to sign the NDA for that amount. The extra $700,000 is specifically the price of our silence. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. That's correct. The original settlement stands regardless. The NDA and additional money are a separate offer. So we could take $1.4 million, refuse the NDA, and still talk about Dad's story? Yes, though the company would prefer you join the class action or take the larger silenced settlement. Maya looked at her mother. What's $700,000 worth? Is it worth Dad's legacy? Is it worth letting them do this to other families? It's worth security, college, a house, a future. We'll have that with $1.4 million. It's not as much, but with the scholarship covering college, we'll be okay. Carmen closed her eyes. You're asking me to choose principle over survival. No, I'm asking you to choose survival over extra comfort. We'll survive on $1.4 million. We might even thrive. The question is whether we need more than survival. I'm so tired, Maya. I don't have the energy to fight for 3 more years. Then don't. Take the $1.4 million, but don't sign away Dad's story. Let me tell it. Let me use it to help other kids through the Beyond the Court program. Let his death mean something. Carmen opened her eyes, looking at her daughter. When did you grow up? About 3 days ago, when I realized Dad made mistakes, but his love was real. When I learned that complexity is okay. When I decided to stop drowning in guilt and start swimming toward purpose. Mrs. Rodriguez smiled. I've been a lawyer for 30 years. That's the wisest thing I've ever heard a 15-year-old say. Carmen looked at the 2 stacks of papers again. Then she picked up the smaller settlement, the one without the NDA. We'll take the original settlement, $1.4 million, and we'll join the class action suit, not for more money, but because Marcus would want us to fight. Mrs. Rodriguez looked surprised. Both? You want the settlement and to participate in the class action? Is that allowed? It's unusual. Typically, families choose one or the other. But technically, yes. You can accept the settlement that's already been negotiated and also participate in the broader criminal investigation and class action. Then that's what we're doing. We'll take what's ours, and we'll fight for everyone else too. Maya grabbed her mother's hand. Are you sure? No, but I'm choosing to trust that doing the right thing will somehow work out. Your father did that his whole life. Maybe it's time I did too. They signed papers, the original settlement, participation agreements for the class action. statements willing to testify if the case went to criminal trial. As they left the office, Maya felt lighter somehow. Scared, but lighter. "We just turned down $700,000, Carmen said in the elevator. "No, we just refused to sell Dad's story for $700,000. There's a difference. I hope you're right. Me too." On the train ride home, Maya called Jasmine. "We didn't sign the NDA. We're taking the smaller settlement and joining a class action suit against the company." "Maya, wow, that's incredibly brave. Or incredibly stupid. We won't know for years. Does this mean you can still share your father's story with Beyond the Court?" "Yes, that's why we did it. Well, part of why. My dad's going to want to talk to you. He's been following your case. He thinks your father's story could change construction safety laws." "That's a lot of pressure." "No, that's purpose. There's a difference." Maya smiled. "Someone recently taught me that." When they got home, Carmen immediately went to her bedroom. Maya heard her crying, deep, wrenching sobs that had been building for 3 years. And Maya wanted to comfort her but knew her mother needed to grieve alone. Some pain couldn't be shared. Instead, Maya opened her journal and wrote, 13. Sometimes the right choice is the expensive one. 14. Silence might be safe, but truth is powerful. 15. You can honor the dead by refusing to let their deaths be meaningless. 16. $700,000 is a lot of money, but your integrity is worth more. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Maya, this is Dwayne Mitchell. Jasmine gave me your number. I heard about your father's case and your decision today. I want you to know, refusing that NDA was the bravest thing you could do. Cameron's death was an accident, but your father's death was negligence. Telling his story will save lives. Thank you for your courage. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." Maya stared at the text for a long time. Then she replied, "Thank you. I'm sorry about Cameron. I hope our programs help prevent more families from feeling this pain." "They will. I'm certain of it." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about her father, climbing that scaffolding knowing it wasn't safe, choosing his crew's livelihood over his own safety, dying trying to do the right thing. She thought about Cameron Mitchell, wearing a Michael Jordan jersey, drowning because his parents worked too much to teach him properly. She thought about choices and consequences and the terrible mathematics of love. Around 2 in the morning, she got up and went to her mother's room. Carmen was awake too, staring at the ceiling. "Can I sleep in here tonight?" Maya asked. "Like when I was little?" "Please." Maya climbed into bed next to her mother. They lay in the dark, holding hands. "Do you think Dad would be proud or angry?" Maya whispered. "About today?" "Yeah." Carmen was quiet for a long time. "Both. He'd be proud we chose principle. Angry that we had to choose at all. Grateful we're honoring him. Worried about our future. Your father contained multitudes. His feelings were never simple. Neither are mine. That's how you know you're human." They fell asleep like that, mother and daughter, holding hands in the dark, choosing courage over comfort, principle over ease, truth over silence. Outside, Chicago breathed through another summer night. And somewhere in that vast city, another family was making impossible choices about work and love and survival. But Maya and Carmen had made theirs, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, for truth. And in the morning, they'd wake up and figure out how to live with those choices, together, the way Marcus would have wanted. 2 weeks passed in a blur. The settlement money, $1.4 million, arrived in Carmen's account. She sat at the kitchen table staring at the bank statement like it might disappear. "It's real," Maya said, looking over her mother's shoulder. "I know, but it doesn't feel real. This is more money than your father earned in his entire life." They'd already made a plan. Pay off all debt, $43,000 gone immediately. Set aside money for taxes. Create an emergency fund. Invest the rest carefully. Carmen had even met with a financial advisor, determined not to waste what Marcus had died for. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you," Maya said. She'd been thinking about this for days. "About the scholarship money." "What about it?" "I don't think we should take the college funding part. Just the nurse practitioner school for you, and maybe 1 year of the internship for me." Carmen frowned. "Maya, that's your future, your education. But we can afford it now. With the settlement, and if I get regular scholarships, I'll be fine. That $100,000 could help other kids who actually need it." "You earned that scholarship. Jordan offered it to you specifically." "He offered it because he thought we were desperate. We're not anymore. We're stable. There are families out there with nothing. Let the money go to them." Carmen studied her daughter's face. "You've been thinking about this a lot." "Every night. Dad's notebook talked about not taking more than you need, about leaving resources for others. I need to live that, not just know it." "What does Jasmine say?" "I haven't told her yet. I wanted to talk to you first." Carmen was quiet for a long moment. "Your father would be proud. But Maya, you're allowed to accept help even when you can survive without it." "I know. But this feels right. I'll still do the internship. I want that experience. But the college money? Someone else needs it more." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." That afternoon, Maya called Jasmine. When she explained her decision, there was a long pause on the other end. "Maya, my dad specifically wanted to invest in you, your potential, your story. And he still is, through the water safety program, through the internship opportunity. But the college money? And that should go to a kid whose family can't afford anything. We'll be okay." "Have you talked to your mom about this?" "She supports it. We both do." Another pause. Then, "I need to talk to my dad. Can you come to his office next week? He'll want to hear this directly from you." "His office? Like his actual office?" "Yeah, downtown, Tuesday at 4. Maya's heart raced. "Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Bring your mom if you want. And Maya, this is very mature, but you're allowed to be selfish sometimes too." "I'm not being selfless. I'm being smart. Taking money I don't need would feel wrong, like I learned nothing from Dad's story." Tuesday arrived gray and humid. Maya wore her best clothes, a simple dress Carmen had bought her for 8th grade graduation. They took the train downtown to a gleaming office building. The receptionist smiled. "Maya Patterson? That's me. Mr. Jordan is expecting you. 23rd floor." In the elevator, Carmen squeezed Maya's hand. "You don't have to do this. We can still accept everything they offered." "I know, but I want to do this." The elevator doors opened to a sleek office space. Jasmine was waiting. "He's ready for you, both of you." She led them through hallways lined with photos. Michael Jordan through the decades. Basketball moments, business ventures, family pictures, a whole wall dedicated to his father, James Jordan. They reached a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Chicago. Michael Jordan stood at the window, his back to them. "Mr. Jordan?" Jasmine said softly. "Maya and Carmen are here." He turned. He was wearing a suit today, looking every bit the businessman instead of the basketball legend. But his eyes were warm when he saw them. "Thank you for coming. Sit, please." They sat on a leather couch. Jordan took a chair across from them. "Jasmine tells me you want to turn down the college scholarship." "Not all of it," Maya said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Just the college funding. I'd still like to do the internship work with Beyond the Court. And my mom should still get the nurse practitioner funding if the offer stands." "Why?" "Because we don't need it anymore. The settlement gave us stability. There are other families who need that money more than we do." Jordan leaned back in his chair, studying her. "That's a very generous impulse. But Maya, the money was offered to you specifically because of your story, your potential, your father's legacy. I know, and I'm grateful, but accepting money I don't need wouldn't honor my father. It would contradict everything he tried to teach me." "Tell me what he tried to teach you." Maya pulled out her father's notebook. She'd brought it with her, knowing she might need it. He wrote, "Don't confuse love with spending," and "leave resources for others," and most importantly, "rich in relationships beats rich in things." She looked up at Jordan. "My dad knew all the right lessons. He struggled to live them, but he knew them. If I take money I don't need, I'm just knowing the lessons too. I need to actually live them." Jordan was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. "You remind me of my father." "How?" "He turned down a promotion once. Better pay, better benefits. But it would have meant less time with family. He said, 'I'll take less money and more life.' Thank you." I was furious at him. We needed that money. But he understood something I didn't yet. That enough is enough. More isn't always better. Carmen spoke up. "With respect, Mr. Jordan, you've never had to worry about having enough. It's easy to be principled when you're rich." "You're absolutely right. And that's exactly why I want to honor Maya's choice. She's learning young what I learned late. That character is built in how we handle resources, not in how many we accumulate." He stood and walked to his desk. He pulled out a folder. "I asked my financial team to run some numbers. If we reallocate your college scholarship, we can fully fund 3 other students from similar backgrounds. Kids who've lost parents to workplace accidents. Kids who are asking the same questions you're asking." Maya's eyes widened. 3 students? Full ride. 4 years each, because you were willing to share instead of hoard." Jordan handed her the folder. "These are the students we've identified. I wanted you to see who your choice is helping." Maya opened it. 3 profiles. A 17-year-old girl whose mother died in a factory accident. A 16-year-old boy whose father was killed in a mining collapse. A 15-year-old girl whose parent died in a trucking accident. All of them excellent students. All of them artists like Maya. All of them struggling with grief and guilt and financial stress. Maya's throat tightened. "These kids, are you? 3 years ago? They need what you needed then. And because you're willing to step aside now that you don't need it, they'll get that chance. What about the nurse practitioner funding for my mom? That stands. See, Carmen deserves to pursue her dreams. That's separate from your college funding." Jordan looked at Carmen. "If you're willing to accept it." Carmen nodded, tears in her eyes. "I am. Thank you." "And the internship?" Maya asked. "Not only does it stand, but I want to expand it. Instead of 2 summers, I want to offer you a position through high school and college. Part-time during school, full-time in summers. Not minimum wage, actual competitive pay. You'll help build and run the Marcus Patterson Memorial Water Safety Program." Maya couldn't breathe. That's more than the original offer. Because you've proven something. that you understand the difference between taking what you're offered and taking what you need. Most people never learn that distinction. You learned it at 15. Jasmine spoke up. There's something else. Maya, something my dad wanted to tell you himself. Jordan nodded. I've been following the class action lawsuit against the scaffolding company. My legal team has offered to help, pro bono. We're going to make sure your father's death leads to real change. Why would you do that? Carmen asked. Because 24 years ago, my father was murdered because our justice system failed. I couldn't change that. But I can help change this. That company has killed 12 workers through negligence. Your husband documented everything. His evidence could shut them down, improve regulations industry-wide, and potentially lead to criminal charges. Will that help our case? Maya asked. It'll help everyone's case, workers everywhere. Your father's final act was trying to protect his crew. Let's make sure that protection extends beyond just them. Carmen was crying now. Marcus would want that. He'd want his death to mean something. It already does, Jordan said gently. He raised a daughter wise enough to turn down money she doesn't need. That's a legacy more valuable than anything I could offer. Maya looked at the 3 student profiles again. Strangers who would get opportunities because she was willing to step aside. Kids who were drowning in grief, just like she had been. Can I meet them? Maya asked. The 3 students? If they're comfortable with it, yes. They'll be part of the Beyond the Court programs. You'll probably work with them through the internship. I'd like that. I'd like to tell them it gets better. That the guilt fades. That their parents' deaths weren't their fault. They need to hear that. And from someone who's lived it and survived it. Jordan walked them to the elevator. Before the doors closed, he said one more thing. Maya, your father shook my hand in 1996. He told me he had a daughter who was going to change the world. He was right. The elevator doors closed. In the lobby, Carmen hugged Maya so tight she couldn't breathe. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud. I'm proud of us, Mom. We chose the hard thing. We chose truth over silence, principle over comfort. Dad would be proud of both of us. They walked out into downtown Chicago. The late afternoon sun broke through the clouds, painting everything gold. What do we do now? Carmen asked. We live, we learn, we help other people. We honor Dad by becoming who he hoped we'd be. That sounds perfect. That night, Maya opened her journal and wrote, 17. Enough is enough. More isn't always better. 18. The best way to honor a gift is to share it. 19. Your character is built in what you choose when you could choose differently. 20. Legacy isn't what you take. It's what you give. She turned to a new page. At the top, she wrote, Letter to my future self. Dear Maya at 30. I'm writing this at 15. Dad has been gone for 3 years. I just turned down $100,000. I'm about to start teaching kids about money and grief and making hard choices. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if refusing that money will seem smart or stupid when you're reading this. But here's what I know now. Dad died trying to do the right thing. He reported safety violations. He fought for his crew. He loved us completely, even if imperfectly. His choices weren't always right, but his heart always was. I hope you remember that. I hope you've learned to forgive him fully. I hope you've learned to forgive yourself for being angry. I hope the water safety program saved lives. I hope the 3 kids who got scholarships instead of me thrived. I hope Mom became a nurse practitioner and is happy. Most of all, I hope you're still asking hard questions, still choosing principle over ease, still living the lessons Dad wrote but couldn't always follow. The jet ski video changed everything. It taught me that judgment is easy and understanding is hard. That wealthy people aren't necessarily greedy and poor people aren't necessarily noble. That everyone is just trying to love their families the best way they know how. Dad knew what mattered. He just couldn't always do it. You're his legacy. Proved that the next generation can close that gap, can know and do, can understand and live. If you're reading this and feeling like you failed somehow, remember, progress isn't perfection. It's just being a little bit better than yesterday. Dad would be proud of any effort you make. Love yourself the way he loved you. Completely, imperfectly, humanly. See you in 15 years. Maya at 15. She closed the journal. On her desk sat the art tablet her father had worked so hard to buy. She opened it and started a new project. A series called The Cost of Love. The first image, her father, young and hopeful, shaking Michael Jordan's hand. The second, her father on a scaffolding, looking tired but determined. The third, an empty hard hat, surrounded by tools. The fourth, a notebook filled with lessons. The fifth, a young girl holding that notebook, walking forward into light. She worked until midnight, pouring everything into the images. Grief and love, anger and acceptance, loss and hope. When she finally stopped, she had 12 drawings, a complete story. Her father's life and death told through her art. She posted them online with a caption. This is Marcus Patterson. He died 3 years ago in a preventable workplace accident. He knew the scaffolding was unsafe. He reported it 3 times. They made him work anyway. His death is part of a pattern of corporate negligence that has killed 12 workers in 5 years. His story matters. His life matters. His lessons matter. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but for change. So other families don't lose their fathers to companies that value schedules over safety. So other kids don't have to learn these lessons the way I did. This is what love looks like sometimes. Imperfect, complicated, human, but always worth honoring. Rest in peace, Dad. Your legacy isn't the debt you left or the mistakes you made. It's the person you raised me to become. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that gift. The Marcus Patterson Memorial Water Safety Program launches next summer through Beyond the Court, teaching kids the skills that save lives. Honoring my father by protecting other people's fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers. That's what matters. That's what lasts. That's real wealth. To everyone judging the Michael Jordan jet ski video, the story is never as simple as it looks. Rich people aren't automatically wrong, and poor people aren't automatically right. We're all just trying to love our families the best way we know how. My dad taught me that, even when he couldn't live it perfectly himself. She hit post. Within an hour, the drawings had 1,000 views. Within 3 hours, 10,000. By morning, the post was viral. Comments flooded in. This made me cry. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you for sharing this. My dad died in a construction accident too. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Your father would be so proud. Maya didn't read them all. She didn't need to. The point wasn't attention. It was truth. It was honoring her father by refusing to let his death be meaningless. The next morning, Carmen woke her up. Baby, your phone is exploding. I know, and I posted Dad's story last night. I saw. Maya, it's beautiful. But honey, the media is calling. News stations, podcasts, everyone wants to interview you. Do we have to do it? No, but we can if you want, if you think it helps. Maya thought about the NDA they'd refused, about the $700,000 they'd turned down specifically so they could tell this story. Let's do it. Dad's story deserves to be told. And maybe it'll push that company to finally change. Over the next week, Maya did 6 interviews. She talked about her father, about the lawsuit, about workplace safety, about grief and guilt, and learning to live again. She talked about Michael Jordan and the jet ski video and how judgment blinds us to complexity. She talked about choosing principle over comfort, truth over silence, legacy over money. The construction company's stock dropped 12%. OSHA announced a comprehensive investigation. 3 state senators proposed new workplace safety legislation, naming it the Marcus Patterson Worker Protection Act. And most importantly, 47 families came forward with stories of their own loved ones killed by the same company's negligence. The class action lawsuit grew. The case strengthened. Justice felt possible. "Your father is saving lives from beyond the grave," Mrs. Rodriguez told them in a meeting. "His documentation, combined with your willingness to speak out, is changing everything." Maya looked at the lawyer. "Is that worth $700,000? Mrs. Rodriguez smiled. "That's not for me to say, but I think your father would say yes." That night, Maya added one final entry to her journal. 21. Sometimes the most expensive choice is the right one. 22. Your father's legacy isn't what he left you. It's what you do with what he taught you. 23. The jet ski story was never about a jet ski. It was about understanding that love is complicated, choices have consequences, and the best way to honor the dead is to protect the living. I understand now, Dad. Finally. Completely. You loved me the only way you knew how. You made mistakes, but your heart was pure. Your intentions were beautiful. Your legacy is real. I'm going to live the lessons you wrote. I'm going to close the gap you couldn't quite bridge. I'm going to be present, prepared, and principled. Not perfectly, but honestly. The way you would have wanted. Thank you for everything. For the art tablet. For the notebook. For the love that was bigger than your ability to always express it correctly. I forgive you. I honor you. I love you. Rest easy. I've got it from here. She closed the journal. Outside her window, Chicago breathed through another summer night. Somewhere in that city, a construction worker was climbing scaffolding. Somewhere, a parent was choosing between work and presence. Somewhere, a child was wondering if they were loved enough. Maya couldn't fix it all, couldn't save everyone, couldn't prevent every tragedy. But she could share her story. She could teach what she'd learned. She could help other kids understand what she now knew. That love is complicated. That good people make imperfect choices. That forgiveness is possible. And that legacy is built in how we honor those who came before us. The jet ski story that broke the internet had led her here. To understanding, to purpose, to peace. Michael Jordan hadn't refused to buy his daughter a jet ski because he was cheap. He'd refused because he understood something profound. The best gifts can't be wrapped. They can only be lived. Marcus Patterson had tried to give his daughter everything. In the end, he'd given her something better. The wisdom to know the difference between presence and presence. Between things and time. Between money and meaning. Maya was 15 years old. Her father was gone. Her mother was healing. Their future was uncertain. But for the first time in 3 years, Maya felt like everything might actually be okay. Not because they had money, not because justice was being served, not because the pain was gone, but because she finally understood what her father had been trying to teach her all along. that real wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in relationships, in purpose, in the legacy you leave through the lives you touch. That's what the jet ski story was really about. That's what her father's life and death had taught her. That's what she'd spend the rest of her life teaching others. The best gifts are the ones you can't buy. The most important lessons are the ones you learn through pain. The truest legacy is the person you become when no one is watching. Maya Patterson was becoming that person. Slowly, imperfectly, bravely. And somewhere, somehow, she knew her father was proud. And that was the end of Maya's story. A 15-year-old girl who learned that the most expensive choices are sometimes the right ones. Or a father whose imperfect love became a perfect lesson. And a viral video that taught us all to look deeper before we judge. Now, we want to hear from you. Where are you listening from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. We love connecting with listeners from all around the world. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps us share these meaningful stories with more people who need to hear them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more emotionally powerful stories that make you think, feel, and see the world differently. And here's the most important part. Share this video with your friends and family. Send it to someone who's struggling with guilt, grief, or difficult choices. Share it with parents who are trying to figure out how to love well. Share it with anyone who needs to remember that we're all just doing our best with imperfect hearts. Spread kindness. Spread awareness. Spread understanding. Because just like Maya learned, the best gifts are the ones we share. Thank you for listening. Until next time, remember, the stories we tell matter, the choices we make matter, and you matter. See you in the next story.